You're watching the Christiana 321. I am the Christiana, and I did it again, you guys. I go in waves of book buying, where like there'll be a month where I buy no books. Maybe I get like one book that was given to me, or I came across in some way. But no. This month I went a little crazy. So let's see, how many books did I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But some of these were acquired in different ways. 12 books in the month of August. And little behind the scenes secret, I'm filming this on August 20th with the intent that if I do, somehow, magically, oh wait! I forgot I had 2 unopened book mail packages downstairs. So I believe it's 4 more books. I'm gonna unwrap them. Where are my scissors? What's the matter with these scissors? Favorite Disney movie? Do you know it? By the time this video goes up, this might not be my address anymore, you guys. Not a book, but got it for a boyfriend who is very allergic to cats, so hopefully, it'll be easier for him to not have cat fur on his clothes after they've been washed, because cat fur, man, it sticks to everything. So yep, 4 more books, and I think that's it. So 16 books, bought in August. We'll go through it. Alright, so first of all, I have a link down below to what might be an affiliate link for some of these books. Basically, I'm trying to figure out how affiliate links work, and I think I still need to be verified before it'll actually work. But if it is an affiliate link, that means that if you use that path to the website to buy something, I get a tiny percent of the profit. It doesn't change your price at all, but it, helps support the channel. I really don't know how affiliate links work, and I don't have enough subscribers to apply for most affiliate links, but some people were wanting me to have a list or something of the books that I mention in these booktube channels videos. So I'm trying it. It may or may not actually make me money, but if you want just a list of the books, it'll be at that link down below. Anyway. Oh, but also if you just want to see some of my other bookish videos, I'll have the playlist to that link down below, and also at the end of the video, where you'll see other book hauls, book reviews dating back to when I was in college. More than 10 years ago, some of them probably, that I won't watch anymore because I'm just so afraid of the cringe. But if you want to see how my relationship and thoughts about books have changed, and just see the progression of me putting on a lot of weight, honestly, and realizing that I don't want to wear makeup pretty much ever. I'll wear it sometimes for an occasion, but the makeup I wore for filming, yikes. What am I saying? Check it out. It's bingeable. Maybe. I don't know. It seems good. Alright, so the books that came in book mail, I did not purchase from the site that I'm linking down below, but in the future, that is the site that I'm going to go to. These were all bought off Amazon, and every time I buy a book off Amazon, I die a little inside, and a honeybee also dies, probably. Basically, yeah, Amazon's not good for the book publishing community, but it's great for the book reading community, because it just, it suggests so many books that I want to buy, and it knows me so well. But, moving forward, I'm going to use bookshop.org. It, part of the proceeds from that also will go to a local bookshop. The bookshop that's in Neenah, Wisconsin, where I live right now, isn't on there, which is weird. So next time I go in, I might ask them if they've thought about setting up an account. But there is one in Appleton, which, well, probably a couple in Appleton, but one in Appleton that I've been to before, and I like their vibe. So you can select a specific independent bookstore to, like, for the profits to go towards, or you can just not select one and it'll go into the big pot that goes to support all of the local bookshops around the country, the world, probably, I don't know. I should find out more about this if I'm gonna use, if I'm gonna do affiliating with them. There's this big old spider outside my window that has been going back and forth from like outside the screen to inside the screen. So I've kept the window, the like glass window part shut. But ordinarily during the week when I'm working in here, because it's also my office, I like to have the window open, but I'm not going to make it any easier for that spider to get me. It's just not something we're gonna do. Alright, let's get to the books. Oh geez, over 5 minutes in. Hopefully it'll be shorter than that because I think I've probably cut out some things, although there were multiple clips. We're getting to the books. The Bennett Women by Eden Apayakubi. Basically, it's another retelling of Pride and Prejudice, which, if you know me, that's probably my favorite book. It's definitely in the top 5. Sometimes if I've read something really good recently, it'll get knocked down a peg, but that's the one that I always come back to. And it used to be every year I would try and read at least, I would reread Pride and Prejudice, but I'd also read a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. I don't know if you can see any of them right now, but they're up there. So, all women's dorm at university, home to close friends, engineering student. Hey, I was an engineering student. I'll tell you about it once I've read it. How about that? But yeah, it seems to take place at university and has an engineering student. And another one from the Bezos site was Curse the Day by Annabelle Chase. This one, can you guess what season I bought it for? Spellbound, where paranormal is the new normal. The only magic Emma Hart believes in is caffeine. Same girl, same. And the power of the dryer to lose 1 sock per load. I don't really face that since living alone. Like, losing things in the laundry was definitely a thing when I, had a household that was all sharing laundry runs. Sometimes I still lose things, but also get socks that can be matched to multiple ones, and then you're fine, and you won't even notice. Recent murder, Muckduck. Goblin accused of theft, remedial witch classes, and the attention of one smoking hot vampire. Struggles to navigate the unfamiliar terrain without losing her mind. Cool! Pocono Mountains. Neat. But yeah, so I bought this. It is book 1 in a series of them, but a cozy paranormal mystery. Whenever I think of Halloween and spooky books, a lot of times I go straight to Stephen King, which I have never read a Stephen King book. I know I said I was going to read one last year. I didn't. I'm kind of terrified because I don't even know if I've seen a Stephen King movie, but it just gets hyped up so much that I don't know. I'm not good with scary things if they're like legitimately scary, especially if they don't have an ending where it's like very clear that this could never happen to me. Like, yeah, baby. Did you fight with your sister and then she won because she's bigger than you? Yeah. Okay. Java likes to fight above her weight class, although it's only me and Fortran, so she is the tiniest one in the house. She's also the most feisty, probably. I don't know, I'm kind of feisty. But I'm not going to fight a cat. That would be weird. Anyway, Spellbound. No, Curse the Day. So yeah, hopefully I'll read that in the spooky season. Then the next two, I really don't know. Okay. I have never been diagnosed with anything in the brain sphere. However, since about 2012, when I started learning about the autism spectrum disorder, I started questioning why I had never been tested for that growing up, because a lot of the things that I was seeing online as being, warning signs, that's not the right term, but potential, like, signals that your kid might be on the spectrum. A lot of those were just, like, funny, quirky stories about me growing up. There's a lot of overlap there. So I started questioning. And I even, like, tried to get diagnosed one time, or, like, tried to, submit myself for testing for it. And it, there's a problem with insurance, and so I wasn't able to do that. Also, it involved, like, calling a lot of people on the phone, and I wasn't going to do that. But it did spark a huge curiosity in me about that side of the world. And I've been able, like, some of the things in my life that make it difficult for me to socialize, or different scenarios at work. Since learning more about autism spectrum, I've been able to use some of the coping mechanisms that people on the spectrum are taught, and when I use them, they work out very well for me. So I don't know if I'm on the spectrum, but I do like learning about it, and sometimes I can find things that are taught to people and that I can use. I'm not ever using, like, resources that are not for me. I'm just using tips about, like, how to deal with how to deal with like, overstimulating circumstances. And I don't think that I have it, or, like, if I do have it, it's not strong enough where I would need accommodations or anything like that. Okay. Well, all that being said, I got 2 books about the autism spectrum. So one of them is called So You Think You're Autistic, a workbook for the confused person who's just trying to figure things out. Which, based on that backstory, I think you could figure out why I thought that I would try this. I don't know if I will actually do any of the exercises in here, but I think I'll at least look through it and try and figure out if there's anything in here that I would find helpful. 'Cause like I said, even if I'm not on the spectrum, I do find some of the tools to be helpful to me. So some of this could still be helpful, even though I've never been diagnosed. And it's called So You Think You Are, so it makes me think that it's not made for people who have been diagnosed, you know? God, I probably sound like an ableist piece of word I can't say on the internet. The other one that I got, though, is called Sensory: Life on the Spectrum, an autistic comics anthology. And basically it is kind of a graphic, I don't think it's a graphic novel. We went through this when I read the graphic piece of work on Tetris, where it's like, it's in comic, picture, graphic format, but I don't know if these are fictional stories or educational, nonfiction kind of things. And I have a feeling it's probably a bit of both, just from the little that I know of it. But I'm excited. I haven't got a graphic novel in a while, and I do feel like fall is the right time for graphic novels. Is that just me? Is it because I read Pumpkinheads and a couple of other graphic novels for the first time? Or, like, I started reading graphic novels in the fall? Because that's kind of what it sounds like. So I just associate graphic novels with the fall from now on. Graphic works of literature. feel like literature still implies that it's fictional. So I don't know if that's accurate or not. My sister's a language arts teacher, so I should probably know things like that, but I don't. The next set of books I got from my library. They were doing a Friends of the Library book sale, and when I went, it was the $5 bag day, which basically is you have a grocery bag and you can fill it with as many books as you want, and it's still $5. I did not fill it up because I got 5 books. But I didn't want to take books that I wasn't interested in, at least at some level. This weekend, they're doing adult, like grown-up. Instead of young adult and children's books, it is for people older. Although they did, I want to say they had some like adult kind of romances out last time. Anyway, which I kind of wanted to go to, but also I have so many books. And they also had DVDs and stuff, and my boyfriend was going to be out of town this weekend, so when we went last weekend, and he found out that the weekend that he was going to be out of town is when they had the, like, non-children's movies out, he was very disappointed. But then, he didn't go out of town, and he's in town, and I think he forgot. And so this is probably when he's going to remember. Maybe I'll tell him and we'll go tomorrow, because I think tomorrow it's just free. Like, today would have been the bag day again, but busy doing other things. Anyway, this is a long video. I'm a quarter of the way through the book stack. Alright. So, this one, teeny tiny little book. T.S. Eliot for Quartets. Yeah. You know who T.S. Eliot is. Nobel Prize in Literature. Blah, 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 for Quartets, whose final quartet is called Last Major Verse He Wrote. I think it's, yeah, so it's all, I think it's like 4 poems, I guess. I don't really know anything about it, but I like T.S. Eliot. And, you know, I want to be into poetry, and I feel like T.S. Eliot is the world's renowned. He's a Nobel Prize winner. So if I'm gonna like poetry, I think his is probably a good one to go with. I don't know. I have... Oh, no, that's Whitman. I thought I had a T.S. Eliot up here. Maybe not. Anyway. And like I said, this was largely younger, or aimed at younger people. There's a lot of mass market paperbacks in there too, but I just kind of skimmed past those. I don't have anything against mass market paperbacks. I just find them difficult to read, like hold on to and read, especially for longer books. Anyway, so a book that everybody seemed to read in either middle school, maybe high school, I don't know, that I never got to. Like, I just was never assigned it, and it never crossed my desk to read is The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. A series of vignettes, stunning for their eloquence. Greatly admired novel, a young girl growing up in the Latina section of Chicago. I go to Chicago all the time. I don't think I knew this was set there. Acclaimed by critics, blah blah blah, sometimes heartbreaking, sometimes deeply joyous. Have you read House on Mango Street? I feel like everybody has, and I just want to know. Sometimes there are books that I just read because I feel like everybody has read them. Like Red Badge of Courage last year. Definitely not my typical kind of book, and definitely was written at a younger grade level than I typically would read. But I just felt bad that I hadn't read it yet. And it's kind of one of those, but it sounds good, and it's pretty short. I mean, Red Badge of Courage was pretty short too. But, you know, I like a good short book sometimes. Or, you know, I've got a box of short books. We'll talk about that another time. This one is called Lighthouse Keeping by Jeanette Winterson. I mostly just picked this up because it had a lighthouse on it, and my boyfriend really likes lighthouses. But it also sounds kind of interesting. Orphaned and anchorless, Silver is taken in by blind Mr. Pugh, the mysterious and miraculously old keeper of the Cape Wrath lighthouse. As the lighthouse beam illuminates a swath of water, so do stories emerge from the vast ocean of Pugh's memory, the history of Cape Wrath and its founder, Babel Dark, a 19th century clergyman. Okay. Some of these names make me think that maybe this author might try a little bit too hard to be like symbolic. Which is not always a bad thing. Like, some people do it very well, but that's just my initial guess. So this one, I guess technically it's probably a mass market paperback, I don't know. But it's called An Ideal Husband by Oscar Wilde. Sir Robert Chiltern, brilliant politician, perfect gentleman, and ideal husband, is on the verge of cabinet rank. Then the shemming and seductress Mrs. Chivalry threatens to reveal a dark secret from his past, and the foundations of his prized career and marriage look set to crumble. In order to be a successful blackmailer, however, one's own reputation must be beyond reproach. Apparently, it's now a major motion picture, which I did want to do a thing for a while. I've got a bunch of kind of shorter books that got made into movies, so this might be a part of that. Like this one, 84 Jarring Cross Road, I think that's what it's called. The Postman Always Knocks Twice. A few different ones that are short books. And then we'd watch a movie, and then we would say movie or book was better. And the conclusion would probably be that they're different mediums. I enjoy both books and movies for different reasons, and you gotta make them in different ways, so it doesn't make sense to compare them. That is the conclusion of that video that I haven't filmed yet. Just based on other books and movies, like I'm not just pulling that out of thin air, but that is kind of how I feel about it. At this point, maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe some of those, it will be very clear that the book was better or the movie was better. You know? You don't know until you see both. Anyway. But I mostly picked this up because Oscar Wilde is hilarious, and I love everything that I've read by him so far. So I'm assuming that I will love this one. And then the last one that I got, I really don't know anything about. The last one that I got from the library. Oh my gosh, this is going to be way longer of a video than I had intended. I'm so sorry. Hopefully you're finding this very entertaining. Heather the Totality by Matthew Weiner, something. Mark and Carrie Breakstone arrange themselves around their daughter Heather, and the world seems to follow. Beautiful, compassionate, and entrancing, she is the greatest blessing in their lives of Manhattan luxury. But as Heather grows and her empathy sharpens to a point, and her radiance attracts more and more dark interest, their perfect existence starts to fracture. Meanwhile, a very different life, one raised in poverty and in violence, is beginning its own malign orbit around Heather. Creator of Mad Men has crafted an extraordinary first novel of incredible pull and menace. I don't think that I got that far in the description before. But yeah, apparently this author was one of the creators of Mad Men, which was I don't want to say delightful show. I enjoyed watching it. But, it was... Parts of it were, not fun to watch, you know? Troubling, I guess. But interesting, and I cared about the people in the show. So, yeah, I don't know. But, alright, so now on to books that I got in the little library, which hopefully you've already seen that video. I think this will come out sometime after that. I have done 2 little library videos. The most recent one was little libraries around Green Bay, and I got 3 books there, so if you want to hear more about them, I'd say go watch that video, but I did a very poor job of the wrap-up. So, we'll describe them now. Book 1 was The Last of August by Brittany Cavallaro, and this book feels like pretty new. Like, it's got a mark on the bottom, but it doesn't seem to have been read before. No cracks in the spine. Even the book cover, like, doesn't seem to be worn. But it is a take on, like a Sherlock Holmes retelling, but with Sherlock Holmes. Oh, dang it. This is the second book in the trilogy, though, so I need to find the first one. I thought I checked that before. Anyway, Jamie Watson and Sherlock Holmes are looking for a winter break reprieve after a fall semester that almost got them killed. Spoilers for the first book! Okay, I won't read any more of this, but yes, it is, yeah, I love Sherlock, especially the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock, which is kind of like a retelling because it, you know, is set in modern times and everything. But that is where I fell in love with Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't like him so much as Doctor Strange, though. Anyway, then there's The Only Purple House in Town. Iris Collins, again, we're going with some like kind of heavy-handed naming, is the messy one in her family, the Chaos Bunny. Her sisters are all wildly successful while she can't balance her budget for a single month. It's no wonder she's into debt to her roommates. When she unexpectedly inherits a house from her great aunt, her plan to turn it into a B&B fails, as most of her plans do. She winds up renting rooms like a Victorian spinster collecting other lost souls. Not all of them are human. But so anyway, this is an ARC, an advanced reader's copy. It came out on July 11th of this year. So, this version is probably not the final version. A lot of times with ARCs, there's still a few things that might change. It hasn't been finished proofing or whatever. Usually it doesn't change very much, but the cover might look different. The back definitely looks different because it has some marketing and publicity campaign notes and stuff. Romance. Ooh. Anyway, I'm excited. Purple's my favorite color, so should be good. It feels like it might be kind of cozy, a little bit magical. You know me, I love some magical realism. And then the last one, I don't know if I'm gonna read or not. It makes me feel bad anytime I take a book, especially from a free source, like the little free libraries, and I'm not gonna read it. But The Cat Who Came for Christmas, which you hadn't noticed, I have 2 cats. So anytime there's a cat, I'm going to at least look at it. The night before Christmas, when a bedraggled white feline enters the heart and home of Cleve and Amory, to say it is a friendly takeover is an understatement, for the cat who came for Christmas is clearly of the independent type, and Cleve and Amory, who has rescued many a homeless creature as president of the Fund for Animals, is, where his own pets are concerned, primarily a dog man. It's a little early, but I think this might be a good, cozy Christmas read. So we are almost at the end. Last set of books from the last location that I purchased them. These were at Barnes & Noble. I was getting a present for a certain nephew of mine, and I couldn't help it. I bought some things for myself as well. I did get him a present though. Was it from there? I don't know. When's he gonna watch this? Is it before his birthday? After his birthday? I don't know. The book that I am currently reading is Nora Ephron, I Feel Bad About My Neck and Other Thoughts on Being a Woman. If you don't know who Nora Ephron is, she was the writer or creator or filmmaker of a bunch of the classic rom-coms like When Harry Met Sally and Sleepless in Seattle. Julie and Julia. Those are all the ones that I listed on the back of the book. But so this is kind of like a memoir, I guess, a series of short essays about her life and what it's like being a woman, specifically her. Some of the ones that I've read so far didn't really apply to me, but it was interesting to hear her perspective. It sometimes is a little hard to keep track of how the story, or like how the essay is unfolding, because I don't really know anything about her other than like her involvement in those movies. And then I have another book by her called Heartburn, I believe, that is a novel, and I haven't read it yet, but I have started this one. Like, over the course of one story, like if it's the story of her learning how to cook, it spans across her life. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is this whole book isn't in chronological order. So like one essay could span her whole life, and then the next essay is just like one chunk somewhere in the middle, you know? Which is fine. And like good, especially the way that I've been reading books lately where I only have time for, you know, one story at a time. Great. So far. I'm maybe like a quarter of the way through it. Then this one is 40 Acres Deep. When Farmer Harold wakes up to find his wife dead beside him in bed, the snow threatening to crush the last life from his dwindling farm, he takes drastic steps towards a fresh start. Set in a world of stark winter beauty, this book is the brief, unrelenting tale of one person's attempt to make sense of a world he no longer recognizes while pitilessly calling himself into account. Seamed with grim humor and earthy revelations, it is an unforgiving story, and yet leaves open the idea that we might surrender to hope. So I got this one partially because it looked good. I don't know, it's kind of a minimalist cover, but it's really pretty. I want to say it might be set in Wisconsin. Why do I feel like it's set in Wisconsin? Just because of all the snow? Is the guy from Wisconsin? Did I get it from a table that said local authors? This book is fiction. Made it up. But it is drawn on true stories and true struggle. If you see yourself in these pages, don't go it alone. Skip to the back and call for help. Ooh, this book includes references to some rough stuff, and includes blunt and accurate profanity. Interesting. It's made up. So how do you define accurate profanity? I don't understand. Anyway, by Michael Perry. Raised on a small dairy farm. But yeah, I got this around the time that I made the video for the 7 Books in 7 Days challenge that I did recently, where I did not do well. But then I decided that maybe I'll do another one in the fall or winter, the second half of the year, and see if I can do better, especially if I do one that is fall/winter themed. And so this would, I mean, the snow and everything would be fall/winter themed, right? And it's short. But it sounds really good. The next two I got was H.P. Lovecraft's Tales of Horror. I'm thinking this might be my like kind of classic horror story this year. Each year I try and read at least one. I think last year it was Dracula, one year it was Frankenstein, one year it was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And so I needed a new one for this year, which there are different definitions. I don't know how I'd want to do it, but I feel like Cthulhu, a story about Cthulhu might fit in well. But so this is just a series of short stories that are maybe a little bit too creepy for me. But I at least want to read The Call of Cthulhu, and it seems like a classic. Also, up here somewhere, I have, I'm not gonna find it. Oh, Sherlock versus Cthulhu, which is a retelling of Sherlock and Cthulhu. So it seemed like a good one because I like retellings. Anyway. But I don't want to read that until I've at least read some of the original. I don't know how much H.P. Lovecraft talked about Cthulhu. Is it just the one story? I really have no idea. It's not really my genre. But I don't want to read a retelling of it before I read the original. I did that for Sense and Sensibility. I read Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters before I read Sense and Sensibility. And now, I think it's been long enough, because that was, a decade ago probably, that I read the Sea Monster version. And so I don't remember much of the original story. So I'm going to read Sense and Sensibility soon. What am I even saying? Oh, I don't want reading the retelling to ruin the original story for me, especially if I have them both on. I'm going to read this one. And then the other one is a book that I've read before, but I wanted another copy. Right now I have, I think, 2 copies. I've got a version that I can't read, just because the way the book is made makes it difficult to hold for long periods of time, and I just feel like I'm going to break it. And then one that my boyfriend gave me for Christmas that's a gorgeous copy, and it has all of these little props and stuff that go along with the story. And so I do probably want to read that version of it, or at least go through the different extra little tidbits in there. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous copy, but I don't want to ruin it and crack the spine or anything, because I'm a spine cracker when it comes to books. So, Pride and Prejudice, did I say that? This is the $10 most recent beautiful version from Barnes & Noble. How they like to have the classic in the public domain books that they reprint all the time. But I love this version. And it's got some pictures in there, some illustrations, but it feels like a good mix between the mass market paperback $2 version that I have. It's not a paperback, the mass market hardback version that I have that was $2, and the beautiful, expensive one that boyfriend gave me for Christmas. So I feel like this would be the one that I would go back to and read a bunch. Although feeling the pages, if I ever wanted to annotate a copy, I couldn't annotate these. It's the pages are a little too glossy, but I like that for reading and for holding, because sometimes the non-glossy pages just make my fingers feel really dry. But that probably just means I'm dehydrated. Anyway, that is the end of this very long book haul, very distracted book haul, very I don't even know what book haul, where I went into too much detail about too many of these books. I'm excited. And what books have you gotten recently that I should add to my list? I do have a list in my phone that I often forget about when I actually go to a bookstore, but the idea is I write it in my phone so I can buy it from a local bookstore or in person or something, instead of just immediately buying it online. So, what books should I add to that list? Right now I think it's pretty short, because I recently went and got a bunch off of it. But the bookstore I went to didn't have a bunch of them, which is why I buy things online. Have you read any of these books? What did you think? Should they be moved up in my TBR? Do you want to see my physical TBR? I recently watched a video where somebody went through all of their books, and they flipped around all the books that they had read, and so then the only books that were left were ones that they hadn't read, and then counted, and they had a huge book collection, but it ended up being a quarter of them weren't read before. So would you be interested in seeing what my percentage of unread to read, or ratio of unread to read books would be? I think it could be very interesting, but also just looking at the books around me, I'm kind of nervous about it, because I feel like if it was only half were unread, that would be a win. I think it's way more than that, though. Book buying and book reading are different hobbies. Anyway, good night. Sweet dreams. I'll see you soon.